Thank you, Jelix. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I would like to thank you on behalf of the Federation for gracing this occasion, for coming over despite our short notice. This is our initial press conference on the launching of the PFF-SMART National Club Championship. PFF President Araneta wanted to join, but unfortunately he is in Kuala Lumpur attending a FIFA meeting. You know, the Federation has been very thankful to SMART for sponsoring this club championship. And we are now on our 4th edition. This is the 4th year. And we have learned a lot on the first 3 editions of the tournament. Maybe most of you know that last year the champion of the PFF-SMART National Club Championship represented the Philippines in the AFC President's Cup, which is a tournament of clubs coming from the emerging football nations in Asia. That was the second time that the champion of the PFF-SMART National Club Championship represented the country in President's Cup. The first, a year before that, was Global, which was the first champion of the PFF-SMART National Club Championship. Now, maybe most of you also know that this tournament is the only nationwide club tournament in the country. There may be other club tournaments, but they are not national in scope. For this edition, we have again tapped the various member associations of PFF coming from Luzon, Visayas, in Mindanao. You may ask our tournament commissioner later on the format, but suffice it to say that we try to make it more competitive in keeping with the spirit that football tournament should be competitive, and in giving thanks also to SMART, which has been quote-unquote helping sports, including football. So maybe Jelix may take the opportunity also to ask our brother here, less formal name, Epoch, Kimpo from SMART, to say something about this 4th edition of the PFF-SMART National Club Championship. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, thank you for coming, for gracing us your presence every year. And as excited as we are, well, tama yung sabi ni Attorney Destanes, the last year's champion was able to represent the nation on the country. And that's exactly what we want to happen, to give opportunities to our clubs from the different regions to be able to show its class and be able to compete with the best. Now, if you take a look at your press brief also, it's mentioned there that pagdating sa nationals, they'll be playing against the UFL team. So this is actually an opportunity even when, you know, as a collegiate player in the province, moving up, be able to play against the other regions, and then eventually with the UFL players. Ito yung exposure na hinahabol natin for our future football players, no? And national ASCAL's team member. Also, I would like to thank PFF for always giving us the opportunity to be a partner when it comes to the SMART Club Championship. No? This is an endeavor that we, from the very start, saw that will help also our aim and our goals as a company and, you know, as an institution. Even from our chairman, Manny Pangilinan, this is a direct order to be able to go around the country and develop, find, search, and make that particular player be ready for international competition. So thank you again, PFF, for this opportunity.
Sorry. I can probably use this. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Anything. Now we can open the floor to questions if anyone would like to start.
Perhaps we can request the Economic Commissioner, Mr. Davidas, to join them.
Yes, sir.
Before I let Mr. Davidas take the mic, Mr. Patrick Gregorio was supposed to be here, but I guess naibot sa meeting. I think if time permits, he will still be part of this eventually.
Mr. Davidas, how many teams are we expected to see, at least in the cluster eliminations?
In Mindanao, we have 4 clusters. For West Mindanao, we have 4 that consist of the following. Club representing Misamis Occidental, Misamis FA, Zamboanga City FA, Zamboanga del Norte, Zamboanga del Sur Pagadian. So these teams will be playing in Cluster 1. So for Cluster 2, for North Mindanao Cluster, Del Monte FC, representing Bukidnon FA, Butuan Agusan del Norte, represented by Ampayong FC, Cagayan de Oro, Misamis Oriental, represented by Maquis FC, Ligan Lanao del Norte, represented by FC 95. So for Cluster 3, which consists of the following in Central Mindanao, Maguindanao, Cotabato City FA, Sultan FC, North Cotabato Federation of Football Association, Mlang FC, Sultan Kudarat FA, Real Marvel, FA of South Cotabato, Water King FC. For Cluster 4, East Mindanao, Agusan del Sur FA, represented by Tamtap FC, Davao City FA by Corregans FC, Davao del Norte FA, Tagum FC. For Cluster 5, National Capital Regions, that will be played by all NCR clubs. Cluster 6, North Luzon, Cavite FA, represented by Flame United, Sherifer FC, Rizal FC, represented by San Beda College Taytay Campus. Cluster 7, Central Luzon, Oriental Mindoro, Adriatico FC, Quezon FA by Lukban FC, Laguna FA, Malian Swartz FC, and Cluster 8, South Luzon, Legazpi City, represented by Legal FC, Camarines Norte, Tribu FC, and Naga City Camarines Sur FA. So these are the participating clubs representing their provincial associations.
How many in all in all?
If I may, I counted. We have a different format this year because for the first time this year, we required our provincial associations to conduct provincial eliminations. So, without being known to many, for the last 2 months, all the provincial associations which participated have conducted their own tournament to elimination tournament. So the PFF-SMART National Club Championship actually started as early as 3 months ago. We have 30 participating clubs representing 30 FAs for this cluster qualifiers. But you have to add 5 more clubs representing the seeded FAs of Iloilo, FA, the Cebu FA, Negros Occidental, where the current champion is domiciled, Negros Oriental, and Leyte. These are the provincial associations in the Visayas. And after the results of these cluster qualifiers, there will be a group stage tournament based in Visayas in 5 groups. So all in all, we have 35 clubs representing member associations of PFF, and you add 3 more clubs, which are the top 3 clubs of UFL for the league season this year, and you have 38 clubs all playing in the championship, without counting the other clubs which have already been eliminated because of the provincial eliminations.
Can you kindly repeat in some Visayas, they're all, because I didn't see the Visayas, Visayas clusters here, they're the ones that seeded already.
Yes.
Basis of the seedings.
Well, their performance in the last several editions of the tournament, as you can see, the first champion came from Leyte, and the second global, and then Ceres comes from Negros, Bacolod City, no? And then Ceres again. So they have fairly strong clubs there, and the competitions committee of the PFF, headed by Dick Imperado, and with the discussion with our competitions department, have agreed for this format so that many clubs can play in the tournament, and at the end, on the national group stage, then you will have a very competitive 2 groups in a final group stage, because the winners of the 5 groups in subsequent to the cluster qualifiers will meet up with the 3 top UFL clubs.
Ano yung seeded na Visayas FAs?
Pardon?
Ano yung mga Visayan FAs na seeded?
Iloilo FA, NOFA, which is Negros Occidental FA, NORFA, which is Negros Oriental FA, Cebu CFA, Cebu Football Association, and LFA, which is Leyte Football Association. 5.
So this weekend we have some cluster eliminations.
This weekend we're going to conduct 2 in Mindanao, and 1 in Luzon. So we have cluster 1 and cluster 2 to be played in Dapitan City, and cluster 2 will be played in Bukidnon, where the PFF Football Center is located in Valencia City.
The cluster champion will advance.
Yeah, will advance to the next group stage.
Yes, sir.
I understand that one of the aims of this tournament is to discover talents and to showcase talent and skills of players all over the country. I was just wondering, doon sa mga tournament in the provinces elimination, there would be some good players in a team who will be losing. So how are you going to discover these teams that will not actually win? This is a team sport. I'm sure there are mga teams where mga isa dalawang players na magagaling. How do you plan to discover these players if they don't even make it to Manila to the finals? Kasi isa ang magaling na player dyan, so ang galing. Pero hindi mo makikita dahil hindi naman mananalo.
Normally in every competition that PFF is organizing, we commission the technical committee to have scouts, to identify talents, and this will be one of the competitions as reference related to what you mentioned about identifying outstanding players. Actually, we have a very good scouting group, no? That after the event, recruitments were made, and some players were recruited in the clubs that are actively playing in Metro Manila.
Not necessarily the winning team.
Well,
Advance
the talent identification doesn't mean that it will follow that all of the teams that qualified will have its talent to be identified as potential player, part of the pool of whatever purpose for the national team the PFF would push through.
So considering that the SEA Games is limited to 23 and under, would you put age limit to this tournament?
If I may, the tournament is a venue for PFF scouting, for talents, for under 19, under 21, under 22, under 23, and even the senior team. Because the minimum age limit for this, what they call open and club championship is 18. Yeah, it's 18
And above.
and above. So, all the players are registered with PFF because they must be number one. Most of them are Filipino citizens. We only allow 5 foreigners to be members of the club, but at any time only 3 can play
Or field.
in the field.
4 or 5?
5.
3 at the same time.
5 to play. 5, 3 to play anytime. So, and we have been gathering data, especially on the young ones, because our coaches, we have AFAC coaches, they are distributed around the country, and if a player is really good, then you don't even need to scouting because it goes up. So we have plenty of records now of the players participating in this tournament.
Sir, this is the fourth time that you are staging this tournament. So, ano po nangyari doon sa 3 tournaments? Have you discovered some athletes here? Are they now in the national team? Can you name a few? Na product po itong tatlong tournaments.
Actually, one of the outstanding players now that is part of the national team is Aguinaldo, no? Amani Aguinaldo. So he is from Davao, and he was discovered during our SMART.
Mabante yung team na.
Actually, Davao is only a qualifier. It's only a qualifier.
Hindi na-qualify yung team niya.
Qualifier lang siya. So he did not, the team did not make it to the quarterfinals. But as a regional qualifier, it qualified to the next group stage. No? And that's one of the best example of how the scouts and our talent identification program is working at this time.
Sir, one more question. Since this is already the 4th, no? Do you have a sort of a ranking of the players today? Kasi meron tayo mga tournament, number 1, number 2, goalkeeper. Do you have a ranking system already for
Actually, the ranking of players is at present. We have the pool, the national pool, and we are now at the point that in the pool, performance-based. It's performance-based that we consider the ranking of our players and moving them to the next level of national teams. In our present setup, we have only ranked the clubs, the clubs that are what you call seeded in the next group stage elimination, and the 3 UFL clubs that will be joining the rest of the qualifiers in the national group stage qualifiers.
follow-up lang, yun sa ano. Ano yung sa NCRFA? Kasi nakalagay lang dito all NCRFA plus for 3 days. Ano yung
Yes, because NCRFA is so big, and and UFL is based here. Most of the players also are with the collegiate teams. So we left to them to conduct the elimination and to conduct these cluster qualifiers. They have so many clubs in NCRFA. It's up to them. To conduct the cluster qualifiers, but for sure, at least 3 from the UFL, which is based in NCR, will be in the final group stage.
So we have a timetable for
Yes.
for them to make that.
Yes, that's correct. The cluster qualifiers should be finished by this month, and the group stage, initial group stage, should be finished by September, and the national group stage should be finished by October, and finals already, because we have other schedules.
Clarification on Attorney Estanes. So on top of the UFL, the NCR National Capital Region Football Association can also field
one champion club,
one team.
which will be included in the 5 groups in the first group stage.
So, and
Only one.
You're giving them the authority to conduct
Their own elimination, cluster elimination.
So we will have at least 4 from NCR plus 5 from UFL. So that's about.
They can have as many as they want, but we need only one champion from the NCRFA, which will be included in the group stage in the seeded group. 5 groups.
Once a qualifier qualifies, can they change the player?
No.
Like get other players from the...
No. We have been last year. We have
Even
been.
due to injury, they cannot replace.
No, okay. This is a club championship, so a club must have its roster of players. So this year we allowed them to initially register 25. No, 30, I think. 30, and then they can field 25. And then during the actual matches, they can field 18. But the 18 should come from the 25. So they have to take care of their health, because once a player plays in one club, say club A, he cannot play in any other club. So that you preserve the so-called heritage, the pedigree of the club.
Besides earning the right to represent the country in the President's Cup tourney, do we have other prizes like cash prizes to be at stake?
Okay, I think that's. But for the last 3 years, the champion received 100,000. I think with Epoch here smiling, I think it will be more this year. And we're planning actually to give cash prize also to the runners-up, and probably to the third placer. To give really incentives to the clubs that reach the national group stage.
Nationals also here in Manila.
It will be all in Manila, Rizal Memorial Stadium.
So there will be individual awards.
They use one.
MVP.
Yes.
Magkano?
Wala.
Wala? Okay na.
This is amateur. This is amateur club championship.
The champion will get, we'll double it from last year, no? So we'll get 200,000, and the second prize will get 100, and then the third will get 50. So that's the first.
There may we
this
know
year.
who sino yung champion last year.
Ceres. Now, if you remember, si Ceres was from Iloilo, di ba? Bacolod, sorry.
Negros Occidental.
Negros Occidental. Now, Ceres, after winning twice sa club championship, joined UFL. So even the players who were playing in the region na level lang before are now exposed to even the coverage of our partner, TV5. So maganda talaga opportunity. We hope another club like Ceres can eventually make it to the UFL, and then more and more to the years.
I think 200 FPZ, first prize for the champion, then 100 for the runners-up, and 50 for the third placer. That's something new and something better than last year's cash prizes. Of course, they will all receive a nice trophy and medals.
Will SMART shoulder all the cluster tournaments or only the 5?
Together with PFF, yes.
Lahat pati yung cluster?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, that's SMART started doing it 4 years ago. Because when we came on board and during our first board meeting in Cebu, SMART delegation went there and made the proposal. They will help football, and they proposed an amount, which they are willing to give to help football to be divided for the next 10 years. So that's why we started that national club championship, and this tournament really gave, the aspiring senior players and the junior players opportunities to show their worth and be noticed and be scouted by the federation for the various age group squad before the senior squad, the ASCALs.
Nationals will be, of course, assumption here is the schedule of the UFL will not come into conflict with the SMART Group national finals.
No, it will not. We set the schedule in such a way that it will be finished before the UFL Cup season starts and before the Suzuki Cup, schedule of the national team. So we are now talking among each other, to really hammer out a very good football schedule for this year and for the next year.
Wait, confirm ko lang, yung sa group stage, mismo Visayas yung
Venue.
venue. Tapos yung clusters, yung nakalagay dito.
Yes.
And yung next stage nun,
Yes.
finals sa Manila.
Yes, in Manila, Rizal Memorial. So we have actually the provincial eliminations, which were held in the different provinces.
Earlier.
Now the champion there got to represent their FA, respective FA, to the cluster qualifiers. So these cluster qualifiers competition will proceed in various places in the country. And after that, we have the seeded 5 FAs. So we'll have 5 groups there, and the winner of each group, 5 of them, will link up with the top 3 of the UFL, which is Kaya, Loyola, Global, or the reverse order, Global, Loyola, Kaya. So we can, the 8 clubs will now be divided into 2 groups by means of a draw. So we will again invite you. Hopefully you can come, and I think better food will be served. It may not be held in this small PFF boardroom. It can be held at other places, in other places, and then we can have the draw, and then we will know which clubs will belong to which group. And when we are finished, then we'll have our champion for 2014.
Okay, so are there any more questions? If not, sir, can you have the closing statement for everyone?
I think I'll give to Epo first the closing. You can have 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Again, I'd like to thank you for spending time with us. We hope and we do pray that you'll be with us for the successive days and succeeding weeks and support football and the clubs nationwide. It's good also if you have your own bets para masuportahan natin as we go along. And like what that attorney said, we will invite you again before the nationals, and doon talagang dikdikan na yung labanan. And hoping for the best and an exciting PFF-SMART Club Championship. Thank you.
Okay, a bit longer, but very quick and short. Sure. Number one, the competition is managed by the PFF competition department, which is being receiving policy matters from the tournament committee of the PFF. But for this tournament, we have a tournament committee, the chair of which is Dick Imperado, the chairman of the PFF tournament committee. The vice chair is board member Fukoy from Pagadian, and of course the head, Cyril Dovidas, the PFF competitions head. We have all the setup. We have appointed neutral referees, so all the referees, mind you, are being mobilized. So they are given not only the players, but the coaches and the referees, PFF referees, and some of them are even our FIFA referees are given the opportunities to officiate in these matches. So this is a big help to Philippine football because you get to involve the players, the member associations of PFF, the coaches, the aspiring ones and the good ones and the old ones, and the referees. As you know, we are preparing all these things because in 2-3 years we will launch our national league, which will be professional in nature. But this PFF Smart National Club Championship will continue because it is amateur basis, and as you can see from the results, we had many other players who have become members of the national team because they have been scouted in this tournament. Right now, we can just remember the name of Amani Aguinaldo. He's under 21, but he's now also in the senior team. One of our up and rising center backs. So again, the PFA would like to thank SMART. This is the 4th year that they are supporting us. I think we have several more years on their budget, and this is one way of helping development of the sports. Because while we sit here in Metro Manila, the sports of football is really growing up in the provinces. That is why we are doing double time on our IT hardware so that we can do the full registration of players and other stakeholders in the country. And by next year, we will have that. All your questions will be asked. You don't really have to ask us because you can visit the website. And again, thank you, SMART, thank you, EPO, and we wish all the clubs good luck, and we wish to see you again for the draw for the national group stage. It will be an exciting one, I'm sure. Thank you very much.
Photo.